Welcome to the Double Dribble Podcast. I'm your host, DS Walk. I want to thank everybody for tuning into the show. I also want to thank you guys for subscribing to the show. And please continue to like, subscribe, and share and comment on this show because this is about to get real deep and serious. But before it gets real deep and serious, I want to say congratulations to the San Antonio Spurs as they eliminated the Portland Trail Blazers yesterday, 114-95. A very young team who's playing up to their potential and playing like they're supposed to play. They beat the lesser team who was not on their level, and they handled business. They were led by De'Aaron Fox, 21 points. But Victor Wembanyama, who came back yesterday, had 17 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 block shots. He was a man among boys. Actually, he was, as Shaq said yesterday, he is the perfect big man in the NBA. Congratulations, San Antonio. And also, even though they lost 4 games to 1, congratulations to the Portland Trail Blazers because they were not supposed to be here. They were not supposed to be in the postseason. It was a success for them to get into the play-in game, but it's also a success, a bigger one, the fact that they got the 7th seed, and even though they lost in 5 to the San Antonio Spurs, they got there. A team that was supposed to be there, and they were led by um, Dan Avdia with 22 points. When you look at when you look at the Portland Trailblazers, their outlook, this is team is on the rise. This is the team took tremendous leaps, and next year they're gonna be better because Dame will be back, healthy, ready to go. Now if they would have got to the second round, third conference championship, who knows? Dame would have been back then. But another off season of getting healthy, and another off season where this team can have more talent, young and veteran talent. I expect the Portland Trail Blazers to be in the mix for a playoff spot next season. And but first things first, when it comes to them, we got to find out who the head coach is going to be. Tiago Splitter did a heck of a job. I hope he gets it on a full time basis because he proved that he earned that right. He earned the opportunity to be the full time head coach after Chauncey Billups was fired because he was charged in a gambling scheme. I'm looking forward to the future of the Portland Trail Blazers and what they're going to do. Again, tremendous young talent on that team led by the Vita, Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharp, Hanson, Murray, Donovan Cleveland, Kamara. They got a heck of a young talent here. Good nucleus right there. We're gonna see what happened with them. Also, the New York Knicks won yesterday as they beat the Atlanta Hawks 126-97, and they are 3 games to 2, and they were led by their best player, their all-star player, Jalen Brunson, bust them boys for 39 points. Carly Towns had 16, and Novi had 17. Mikal Bridges had 7 points. On the Atlanta side of things, Jalen Johnson had 18 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. When you look at Jalen Johnson, you expect more. You expect him to do more. And this season was his coming out party. And postseason, you know, he hasn't been the superstar player that we thought he was going to be this postseason, but the man is putting up double doubles. He just needs to do a little bit more. The Atlanta Hawks take going back home. They had the perfect opportunity to take this to Game 7, but yet the New York Knicks needs to win Game 6 because if they go Game 7 with the Atlanta Hawks, that would be a toss up, and that would not favor the Knicks. The Knicks need to end this in 6. That's the Knicks need to get all the hounds. They need to get everybody in New York, all Knicks fans, off their case, off their backs, and they need to put this away. If they don't put this away, the noise will get louder. And how loud the noise get, the more the players will pay attention and more pressure there will be on the players and on the coaching staff. So they got to end this in 6 and move on. the Boston Celtics lost to the Philadelphia 76ers, 113-97, but Boston's up 3-2. If you're a Boston Celtics fan, I don't think you too much worry about it. Let's just take this back to Philly and let's end it there. That's their mindset. You got Jason Tatum, you have Jaylen Brown, you got Derek White, you got three veteran players who've been there, done that. Uh, take it, taking the six. That's what they got to think about. End this in six. Because listen, even if they go seven, I think Boston will win. But the one thing you don't want to do is give a team like Philly, a young team like Philly, some motivation. Because Joe Embiid is back. And Joe Embiid, for the second game, he been back yesterday. He had 33 and 4 rebounds and 8 assists. He was over 5 shooting the threes, but he was 12 of 23 overall. The man coming back from surgery, I mean, that is a mismatch. You don't want to give Philly any more confidence. Philly has the biggest mismatch in this postseason right now since Joe Embiid back is Joe Embiid, because the Boston Celtics has no center that can check or guard Joe Embiid. If Joe Embiid gets going, it might be a problem for Boston. And I'm not saying Boston's going to lose this series. I don't believe that. But they need to put this game away in six. Because if it goes seven, even though I think Boston will win in seven, it will still be a problem. Because Joe Embiid, even though he's been out for the first, 3 games of this postseason, he came back game 4, it didn't look right. Game 5, he like benches Joe Embiid. You just don't want to give teams confidence. You don't want to give certain teams motivation to think that they can beat you. So Boston has to take care of this in 6. And a big shout out to Oklahoma City Thunder as they swept the Phoenix Suns. And if you OKC, that's business as usual. You took care of business. Now you're waiting for your next opponent. Whether it's going to be Minnesota or whether it's going to be Denver. And you can see that series is going to be a long series. That's the type of series where it might go 7. Denver has the advantage because Anthony Edwards is out. Dante is out for the season with a torn ACL. So now you're just dealing with Jaden McDaniel and Julius Randle as Minnesota best players now. I fully expect Denver to take control of this series, and I expect Denver to win this series. Whether it goes 6 or 7, I expect Denver to win. If Denver doesn't win, then Denver got some questions they're gonna have to ask in the offseason about this squad as constructed. Because maybe, just maybe, Jaden McDaniels might be right. They're not a good defensive team. They're soft. They have no good individual defensive players. And Joker is not the Joker. He's struggling. Rudy Gobert is D'ing him up, even though he had a good game last game. Even though, I put it like this, even though he's putting up good numbers, he still don't look right out there. So Minnesota has an opportunity to take this to 7, but I do expect Denver to take control of this series and win it. Because if they can't win with Anthony Edwards out, again, a lot of questions that don't need to answer. And if you're the Phoenix Suns, if you're Devin Booker, and I know you loyal to Phoenix, I know you love the city of Phoenix, I know you love the fan base, I know you're comfortable where you are. It's beautiful weather. You in the desert, man. It's you got everything you possibly want. A quality of life in Phoenix, Arizona. And trust me, brother, I love Phoenix, Arizona. I mean, I would love to retire there. I would love to have me a house next to Devin Booker in Phoenix. If y'all haven't been to Phoenix, Arizona, if you haven't been out there in the desert, it is beautiful. And you understand why people go there and don't want to come back. I'm telling you that. If you haven't been there, check it out. But if you're Devin Booker, you've been eliminated in the first round. Your ultimate goal is to be an NBA champion. Your ultimate goal is to win a championship. Your ultimate goal is to be one of the elites of the elites in this league. You were one of the best shooting guards in this league. You're an Olympic gold medalist. You done everything individually wise. You are the all-time leading scorer in Phoenix history, Phoenix Suns history. You broke every record book in Phoenix Suns history. You scored 70 points in one game. You got all the accolades in the world as an individual stats. Whether it's the NBA top or you're number one in the record books and the catalogs for the Phoenix Suns. It's time to move on. It's time to move on. It's time to make a priority of winning a championship. Because you've done everything in Phoenix. And as this team constructed, even going to this offseason, you adding talent. You will still not be better than Oklahoma City Thunder. You won't be better than San Antonio Spurs. It's time to move on. It's time to go get that ring. Because that's the only thing that's missing from your resume. And if you look at the Phoenix Suns, you look at this team right now, and you see that Jalen Green is not just taking more shot attempts than Devin Booker, but they're looking for him. Jalen Green is playing like a player who's the number one option on the team, and Devin Booker's number two on his own team. Maybe I'm reading too much in this. Maybe I'm wrong. But I am right about Devin Booker needs to leave Phoenix. He has to go somewhere. Maybe it has to be a mutual thing with Phoenix. Like, hey, look. And Devin Booker says, hey, look. We went as far as we can go together. We did a lot of amazing things together. We accomplished a lot of beautiful things together. But it's time to move on. And if I'm Devin Booker and if I'm the front office of the Phoenix Suns, that's what I'm thinking. I'm going to trade my franchise all-time greatest player. And I'm going to not basically start off from scratch. But basically, I'm going to be starting over. You don't want to. I understand what players once retired with the team that drafted them, they want to play their entire career with one team. I understand that. Every player who gets drafted by the team that they play for, all want to be retired by the team that they drafted them. They want to play with one team, one location. I understand that. But at some point in time, you're going to hit a wall. And you're going to continue to hit that wall. You're going to do the bang on that wall until you finally realize, I got to get up out of here. And Devin Booker, who is still young enough, who's still a lethal shooter, still a great player in this game, he needs to go to another team. And I would love him to see him playing for this particular team, who I'm about to talk about, playing for this particular team, because I do believe if he play for this particular team, I believe he'll get over the hump. And I truly believe this team will get over the hump. And they could be one of the top teams in the league. I think Devin Booker owed that to himself. I think the Phoenix Suns owe that to themselves. If the Phoenix Suns ever wants to take that next step, and put a contender team together, I think it starts with trading Devin Booker. You did half of the work already. You got rid of Kevin Durant. You got rid of Bradley Beal. You brought in Dillon Brooks, who basically changed the outlook of that franchise with his tough, hard-nosed play, defensive prowess. He changed our culture, along with Devin Booker. Now it's time for the Phoenix Suns organization to take it to the next step. So this offseason of the Phoenix Suns is going to be very important. It's going to be very crucial, and I'm definitely going to be paying attention to see what's going on. Definitely will. Drop something on the floor. The Detroit Pistons are on the verge of being eliminated from postseason play. The Detroit Pistons are on the verge of being one of the biggest frauds in NBA history as a number 1 seed. The Detroit Pistons have taken 10 steps back ever since this postseason started. The worst thing for the Detroit Pistons to ever happen to them is playing the Orlando Magic. The worst thing that ever happened to the Detroit Pistons is not being aggressive in the trade market to get a top-notch scorer. The worst thing for the Detroit Pistons that we have seen so far is that this team has not shown who they are, has not played up to their identity, has not lived up to the standard that they believe that they should be living up to. The Detroit Pistons are being outplayed, out-hustled, and they are being punked by the Orlando Magic. The Detroit Pistons refuse to show up. It's okay that they can show up in the regular season, but it's not okay. It's not okay for them to not show up in the postseason. This is the same team who came into this season with a chip on their shoulder, wanted to play the New York Knicks. Want the New York Knicks really bad because of the taste of their mouth at the way they played and the way they let the New York Knicks win that first round series last year. They came into this season with that chip on their shoulder. They came into this season pissed off. What happened? What happened? Because I don't see the same team with that chip on their shoulder. Look, we know they're a terrible shooting team. We know they don't have a second option. I'm the first one to tell you I was wrong by Jalen Duren being their second option because the way he played and showed everybody in the regular season that he can create for himself, he can create for others, and he hasn't shown that part of his game in the postseason. But he's played hell of a good defense. But he's not getting the rebounds. He's been outplayed by Wendell Carter Jr. He is letting Wendell Carter Jr. D him up. The Orlando Magic give him credit. They're packing the paint. But Jalen Duren, who we seen a little last game, shoot a jump shot, went in, but still disappeared. We see Cade Cunningham turn the ball over so many times in costly minutes of the game. Now I get it. He's doing a lot because he's asked to do a lot because he doesn't have that second scorer. He doesn't have a shooter. Even though Duncan Robinson is supposed to be that shooter, he can't hit a shot. And they're going at Duncan Robinson to the point where the first 2-3 minutes of the third quarter, they were already in the penalty. See, most good defensive teams will hide that weakness. The Detroit Pistons can't hide the weakness of Duncan Robinson because the Orlando Magic has been seeking him out. Kevin Huerter's not playing a lot. I don't understand why. I don't understand. Ron Holland, who is not a good shooter, but he provides energy for this team. This team needs some energy sometimes. He can't get in the game. Javonte Green is playing okay. Danis Jenkins somehow lost his confidence, or he just camera shy, or he just nervous about playing the postseason. Danis Jenkins makes the Pistons realize that they need to get a second ball handler. You know, you got a lot of players like Jenkins and and Duren. Jalen Duren playing so good because he had something to prove to the Pistons that he deserved a max deal. He played his ass off in the regular season. But someone forgot to tell him, hey, Jalen, you got to play this type of way in the postseason to get that $40 million, extra $40 million to get that max deal. They forgot to tell him that. The Detroit Pistons, I'm going to pull up this stat. The Detroit Pistons shot 38% last game. Orlando Magic shot 33%. Both teams were terrible shooting the three. Detroit 20%, Orlando 26%. The Detroit Pistons went to the free throw line and had a lot of splits from players who are usually good free throw shooters. Duncan Robinson, Tobias Harris, Cade Cunningham, just name a few. Jalen Duren, just name a few. They were out rebounded 52 to 49. Okay. The Orlando Magic had 16 offensive rebounds to their 12. The Detroit Pistons only had 18 assists. The positive part is they had 18 blocks. But the turnovers started happening in the second half where they had 20. They only had 11 fast break points. They had 44 points in the paint. And points conceded off of turnovers. Detroit 23, Orlando 11. The Pistons had largest they had was 10. And they only led 27% in the game. I don't know what buttons that JB Biggerstaff had to push. I don't know what lineup he needs to put out here tonight for Game 5. But understand, this is crucial. We got to win or we're going to Cancun and we won't be called frauds until next season. JB Biggerstaff has done a terrible job coaching this team this postseason. He is also being outcoached by Jamal Mosley, a coach who's on the verge of being fired. Who now I read, if they win this series, he's going to keep his job. His close friend is about to keep his job because he is out coaching and his team just a little bit out hustling, out playing the Detroit Pistons. The Orlando Magic tried to give this game to Detroit last game. They tried to give it to them. They said, hey, you can have this game. But the Pistons was because they were so bad shooting the basketball. It was that, I think it was that third or fourth quarter, that one possession where Tobias Harris missed a three, clank. Javonte Green missed a three, clank. Duncan Robinson missed a shot, clank. Back to Tobias Harris, clank. These are pros, man. You are a professional basketball player. You telling me you can't make a shot? You telling me that you can't go to the hole and draw a foul? You know how many times in this series where I've seen guys miss an open three-point shot or open 15-foot footer or even an open 2-foot shot and the Pistons miss it? That's crazy. That's crazy. The Orlando Magic was throwing bricks on backboard. They was not trying to win this game. They was really trying to give it to Detroit. And the Pistons couldn't take advantage of it because they couldn't score either. See, I love 90s basketball. Tough, hard-nosed defense. Good set plays in the half court. I love 90s basketball, but even this style of basketball, I couldn't even call it 90s basketball with all those bricks I seen in this game. It was just two teams who can't shoot a basketball, and that's a damn shame. That's an embarrassment. When the Detroit Pistons look in the mirror, they see the Orlando Magic, a team that plays exactly like them. But the only difference is Orlando has a little bit more scoring. They got some shooters. So that make them a little better offensively than Detroit. But even that's not even a problem. The problem I have with Detroit Pistons is that they believe in their philosophy and they live up of being one of the best defensive teams in the league. And in this game, even though their defense has been good, it hasn't been stellar. It hasn't been Detroit Pistons basketball. It hasn't been their style of defense. The 18 blocks, I love. The fast steals, I like. They should have got more. But they hang their hat on everything on defense. And the Orlando Magic is playing better than they are. The Orlando Magic are hitting timely shots. Every time when the Pistons are up by 2 or down by 2 or up by 1, down by 3, the Orlando Magic always find a way with the minute 16 or 59 seconds, somewhere in between there, they'll hit that big shot ball game. The reason why is because the Pistons can't go back down there and hit a big shot to save their lives. You see, that's why when you hear teams like Cleveland and we hear teams like Orlando, they want to play Detroit. Charlotte wanted to play Detroit because they know that this team does not have enough offense to beat them. But they have some defense that can beat them. And so far, that defense hasn't showed up. Now I don't know if the Pistons going to win or lose tonight. And at this point, if they lose, it'll be an embarrassment. If they're able to win this game and extend this series to Game 6, they have a little chance. And bigger staff and the players, they're right. You got to take it one game at a time. But my question is, when they play tonight, are they going to play with a sense of urgency? Are they going to play with a sense of they need to win this game? Are they going to come out and ball out like they should have been doing? Are we going to see the real Detroit Pistons stand up and be the team that they know they can be, and be the team that their fan base know they can be, and be the team that I know they can be? Or are there going to be some frauds? Are they going to be the laughing stock of the NBA again? Frost Wagner might not play tonight, but if he does play, he'd be very injured. This is an opportunity for this team to take advantage of that. We'll see if they can. We'll see how they will play. Because the first 5 minutes of this game is going to tell you everything you need to know if the Pistons going to win or they're going to lose. This first 5 minutes of the game is going to tell you if Jalen Duren is going to be involved, force himself to be involved in this game. Forget about them packing the paint. Forget about what Wendell Carter Jr. is doing to him. And just go out there and play like Jalen Duren. Play like a guy who got a chip on his shoulder, who wants that max deal, and who wants to be one of the elite players in basketball. When that Jalen Duren show up, the Pistons will win. When Cade Cunningham cut down on the turnovers, they will win. When JB Bickerstaff figured out that, yo, what you're doing is not working, you might have to change up some stuff, and you might have to play Ron Holland. You might have to give Marcus Sasser some minutes. You might have to get the rookie Chaz Lanier some minutes because you need some shooting desperately. Maybe they'll win tonight. But regardless if they win tonight or the next game or win this series or lose this series, I expect the Detroit Pistons going this offseason make some changes. They need a shooter. They need a Devin Booker on their team. I'm not saying they need to go trade for Devin Booker. That would be nice. But they need a Devin Booker-like player on this team. They need a Trey Murphy-like player on this team to expel and give Cade Cunningham a break. Give him a shooter. They need a second ball handler, a true second. I'm so mad I can't even say it right. They need a secondary ball handler on this team. Jenkins has showed you he is not. They need no more projects. You were the #1 seed this season, and you have not played like it. You were talked as being one of the top NBA teams this season in the Eastern Conference. They have not played like it. And going through this offseason, they're going to have to get some big-time players to earn the respect from the other teams in the NBA going into next season. And when they get into next season, they have to be no doubt a dominant team. Trajan Langdon has to look at this team. He's seeing the flaws now. As a matter of fact, he already knew the flaws were, but now those flaws are bigger and it's getting worse. Because if they get past, let's say they come back and get past Orlando, they're going to play either Toronto or the Cleveland Cavaliers. And they got shooters. They got playmakers, secondary playmakers. And both teams can play defense against your guys. Most of your guys on your team is self-check. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? See, I came on my show and I criticized that young man Tyson from Cleveland for being so cocky and calling out the Pistons. Yeah, we got them. We want them. Now I'm saying this from a rookie? From a young player? Nah. But I was wrong. Because if I'm Cleveland, if I'm Toronto, definitely if I'm Boston, Philly, even the New York Knicks, and I see this Piston team, I'm licking my chops. I'm licking my chops. Because they can't hang with me. And the Orlando Magic's not proving that. If the Orlando Magic finish the Detroit Pistons off tonight, I expect big changes in Detroit. And going to next season, I would expect JB Bickerstaff to be on the hot seat. Because this is unacceptable. Unacceptable. So I expect the Detroit Pistons, I'm hoping that the Detroit Pistons will come out with a sense of urgency. They'll come out and ball. They'll come out and be ready to go. But that's just one man expectation. I want to hear your guys. I want to hear from you. What is your expectation of the Detroit Pistons and what you expect them to do tonight? This has been the Double Dribble Podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share my show. I thank you guys for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace and love.